All right, we're going to do a quick skill builder for the vintage spike stitch ripple that I posted a little bit ago. And you may be coming from that video, or you may be finding this on your own, in which case, welcome. A quick skill builder, if you want to make that blanket and or that pattern and you're not comfortable with chevrons yet or the ripple stitch, we're going to do a simple, very small ripple just so that you can get comfortable with the idea. When you're not trying to wrangle a huge scarf or a blanket, we're just going to make a quick mug rug because we can always use more mug rugs or coasters if you want to call it that. What you want to know about chevrons, we're going to do a single crochet one here because it's a very simple concept, but you can do this with any stitch. Singles, half doubles, doubles, trebles, anything. You can even do that with a granny style, with shells. There's lots of chevrons out there or ripple stitches out there, ripple blankets. What you want to know is you're basically stacking decreases and increases. So your valleys are stacked decreases, your hills are going to be stacked increases. That's all that it is. And I'll give you a quick, the blanket that this video you may have come from is this, and you can see this hill here. This is just a row or a set of stacked increases, and this valley is just stacked decreases. We skipped 2 here, we added 2 at the top, so this is 3 stitches and skipped 2 stitches for a total of 1 stitch at the top there, right where it's supposed to be. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're not going to do the spike stitches in this video, we're just going to do a quick ripple. We want to do a short mug rug. One thing you'll also need to know about ripples is your chain is going to feel a lot bigger than your project is going to end up. And that's just simply due to the nature of ripples. They shrink up because you're going up and down instead of straight across. The next thing to think about in ripples, when you're thinking about maybe the math that's involved, is each of those ups and downs, you're going to go up some stitches, increase, and then come back down that same number of stitches, skip 2 or 3, depending on your pattern, and then back up. With that, your repeats are the number of stitches you're going up and the number of stitches you're going down, plus the number you are skipping and the number you're increasing. It's a lot of things to think about, so I'm going to give you the basic numbers. If you want to have a 5-stitch side, so 5 stitches up, 1 stitch at the top, 5 stitches down, don't count the one at the top, don't count the one you're decreasing, just think about the 5 that you're going to have total, so it's 10. 5 up, 5 down, that's 10. So we're going to do, if we do a 10 single crochet repeat, we want to do 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's going to be enough stitches for our first hill. And I'm going to hold it like that so you can see that this only really takes up about this much space. Let's do 3 of those because we're only making a mug rug. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Make myself a little bit more yarn here. And then another 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you are already comfortable with single crochets, you'll know that you need to add an extra to go up to the next row to go back. So we're going to add an extra stitch. So our basic pattern is 10, or basic chain stitch cast on is 10 multiples plus 1. So if I wanted to make this one repeat bigger, I'd add another 10. It'd be 40 plus 1, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81, and so on. Now, we're going to skip the first chain stitch away from our hook. So we have, you can see this up here, we have this, and then we have this first one that we're going into. We're going to skip that, and we're going to go into the next one. And I'm going to use that top on my little chain here, that top bubble. I'm trying to hold it sideways for you. It's harder on here. Making sure you can see this as like a sideways. It's the hump, or the bump on the back, not the V's that are nice, because this is going to make the bottom of our project. This is what people are going to see when they look at the bottom of our project, those nice pretty V's. We're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, single crochet made. So now we're going to go 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to, in our 5th stitch, we're going to do our first increase. 1, 2, 3. So now we have 5 stitches up, the center stitch, and then we're going to do 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first row only. So when we're doing this chain stitch portion, we're only going to skip 1. And then we're going to do 4 again. Now we're doing that because if we skipped 2, you end up with this big saggy bump down here, and that's not going to look very good on your finished project. As we go, the stitches, the next row up, the stitches on either side of that skip stitch, we're going to skip those, and it'll keep shrinking up and up and up, and it'll look really nice. But since we're only skipping 1 the first row, and that's because we're doing over chains. If you were doing this with a foundation single crochet, if for those of you who really prefer a foundation single crochet, we would have skipped 2. Let's do 4 single crochets after our skip stitch. That's what we did for our first hump and valley. So our first peak and our first valley. We skipped the first chain and single crocheted into the second chain from our hook. Then we did 3 more, 1, 2, 3. In the next one, we did 3 single crochets. So that's 4 single crochets total. And then in the 5th chain, 5th hook stitch we're working in, we did 3. So single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, 3 single crochets in 1 stitch. And we go down 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets, skip 1 chain, 4 single crochets, 3 singles in 1 stitch. Four down, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1 into the next, 1, 2, 3, 4, into the hump, 1, 2, 3. So that's our increase. And then down, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I accidentally added an extra chain. And that's all right. If that happens, just pick open that original knot that you did. It's always better to have too many than not enough. I don't get too worked up if I have too many chains on my initial one. And then just retighten. And we'll kind of clean that up a little bit more too. And if you want to edge this and do an edge all around, it'll kind of clean up and also clean up a little bit if you're just putting that in at the end. It won't be really big. I have been known, especially when doing ripples, to add a few extra stitches just to make sure I didn't count wrong. Because again, I'd rather have too many at the end and have to pick them out than need to add more on, because foundation single crochet is not my favorite thing to do, but it's something you can do if you don't have enough. All right, so we'll start the next row. We're going to chain 1. We're going to turn. Now we're going to skip. We're going to decrease by skipping that first single crochet in the row below and moving into the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the next stitch, we're going to increase 1, 2, 3, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pause before we do our next increase so you can see that first hill and valley. So we increased here and here. You can see how it's really nice and pointy. And we decreased at the beginning and end of that first repeat. Beginning, and then we'll decrease again at the end. So each of the 2 here, that's 1 decrease for this and 1 decrease for this to make up for the 2 additional stitches we put into the top. So you're exchanging an increase for a decrease to make this little peak and valley. So you're going to have the same number of stitches across the whole thing at the end. We're going to go up here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoop. 1, 2, 3, I meant. So that happens if you can just keep counting in 4s. You may want to make your first mug rug in repeats of 10, try 8. And so everything's in 3s except for your skip. So it's skip 2, 3, 3, 3, skip 2. If that's more comfortable for you. 1, 2, 3, and then skip 1 in the end. There we go. And then we'll simply come up and do it again. Now, one of the things you may want to practice in here, if you're not already comfortable with it, is changing colors. So let's do a few. The pattern that I'm using this as a skill builder for uses 5 repeats of color, so 5 rows of the same color. So we're going to do that here. And I'm going to put this on fast forward. So we're going to zip through this.
I'll meet you on the other end when you have 4 rows. 5 rows. My apologies. Should probably hearing this on ridiculous fast forward, so you can't really hear what I'm saying. Skip 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5. Perfect. All right. Now that we have done 5 rows, we're going to leave the last 2 loops of the row on our hook. I like to, when I change colors, put my current working yarn over the hook, and then I take the next color I'm working and I lay it in the opposite direction. So my working yarn's coming out this way. So I put the end behind, and that way my new working yarn is coming out the same direction. I hold those 2 together and I put them both through those last 2. Now some people prefer to just put the new yarn through. Totally fine. I like this because it kind of locks it in together and I know it's not going to unravel easily on me. And then I will drop that old working yarn to the back of my project, take both the working end and the loose end of my yarn, or the starting end of my yarn for the new color, put them both over my hook, pull them both through as my chain 1, And then I drop that old one out, the end out there, so it's still sitting out here with my other end, and then I snip. Now this works for me because I don't have to worry about this end coming loose. What I have found with, for some, especially those who are really tight, like really pull on their project a lot, if you don't do what I just did and put both through at the same time, this will just kind of unwork itself because you're tugging. People, not you, but people tug a lot on their yarn. So if that's your experience, if you find that, or if you find you have to leave like a mile long end here and you only want to leave a few inches, pull that through here, and then you don't have to leave quite as long a tail. Same here. So if you're using scraps or you're really concerned you're going to have to play yarn chicken at the end of your project, leave those shorter tails by double looping this. It just gives you a little extra security. Then we're going to turn, skip, and go right back. Now this is going to be different than if you're using this as a skill builder for the vintage ripple with spike stitches, then this is not what you'll do on the first row of that one, but this is a really good way to get comfortable with color changing. So we're getting comfortable with a couple things here, chevrons and color changing. And we're doing the same exact pattern, we're just doing it with a new color. Now if this is too big for a mug rug for you, this actually might make a really cute little scarf if you want to work that long, or maybe it's a larger mug rug, or if you chose to do bigger chevrons or ripple, or if you chose to do them smaller on your mug rug, it might be the right perfect size. This here, I'm going to pull my wrist ruler off. We're going to measure this. It is right at seven and a hair inches wide. And right now I'm at, from top of ripple to bottom of a ripple, 2 inches. So that one color was about 2 inches. So I'll do all of the green and then I'll add one more color and then I'll be done. This will be a nice little, rug to put under my mug on my desk. I have a large mug for coffee. So it'll be nice to have that right under there. I'm going to turn this back and we'll fast forward to the next color change.
Do you want something more square? Maybe you want to do one less hump there, or do you want to do an extra row per color? An extra color, I'm only needing 3 colors. Maybe I'll do 4. We can add another one on later. 1, 2, 3. You'll find this becomes really second nature pretty quickly. Back skip. 2, 3, 4, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4. My hand's getting cold. Skip 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, skip 1, turn, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, oops, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1, now 1, 2, 3, 4, the last row, this color 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now let's do our last color, or my last color. I'm going to bring in this beautiful blue. I don't know if I've already mentioned, these are some scraps that I have laying around of same yarn that I'm using on the other Afghan. This is the scale builder for. In the vintage Afghan, I'm using 3 grays and a black, or 2 grays, white and black. Here I'm using a dark red and a light green, and this is a lovely blue. I think this is actually the teal. I can't tell in the light here. But these are from Joann's Big Twist Sparkle. And I don't know how well you can tell the sparkle, but they are delightfully sparkly. Um, all of the colorful yarns are done with a sparkle in the same color. All of the um, monochrome, the white, um, light gray, dark gray, and black are done with a silver sparkle. I think you can get a gold sparkle too for the black. Um, and they're just gorgeous. They really sparkle delightfully in real life. I don't know how well you can tell it here on the screen. All right, so we're going to join our new color in again. So I'm going to pull that the way that I do it. Now, some people do it. I'll show you how some people do it here. They just have those last 2 stitches. They put the non-working end of the yarn behind the hook, the working end of the yarn in front of the hook, just like you would normally do it. Pull it through and kind of tug this down, and then they might only, let's say, look, it's so scandalous. They may only put it over one here, but you can see how loose that is. And then even when I go to it, for me, this is all for me, it gets a little tight here when I go to put it in. I find my tension looks so much better when it's maybe a me issue. And if that's the case, no worries. I'm okay with things being a me issue. When I do it like this, when I have the working yarn, my current working yarn over the new working yarn with, that's about 6 inches over top of my hook there. Pull that through, give it a quick tug. And this, to me, just keeps this end from getting lost because I'm going to lock it in. It also keeps this end from getting like undone because I'm locking it in by using it as part of my chain one. It is a little bit more bulky, but honestly, you really never notice it. I've never noticed it. Um, Kind of like when you do a join using Russian join, it's very similar to the way it's going to feel. And I only have to give a few inches. I don't have to give a ton of extra yarn over here because it's already really secure. This is going to have a similar security feel to people who knot their yarn and then put their ends in without having that weird knot. So if you're someone who traditionally has knotted their ends and then started their new row, this will give you that similar security without having that lumpy knot at the end of your row that some of you pick out and then put your ends in. And it really is all about how you learned to do it. Maybe that's how your mom did it, your grandma did it, your friend who taught you, however you learned. And we're going to fast forward through me doing this last color, and then we'll be done, and we'll have our finished mug rug.
Do, 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 do. 2, 3, 4. Skip 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, 4. 10. Skip 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, 1. Skip 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4, and up. I got 2 more rows to go, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, whoops. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, 1. Chain up. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Skip 1, 1. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip 2. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4. I apologize for the dark yarn in this last. Is that 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip 1, 4.
All right, there is our finished mug rug. That'll look great with my mug on top of it. I have some ends to put in. If you're not comfortable putting in ends, we could have crocheted over them. I apologize for not showing you that. But it is a very simple thing to do. You just kind of hold your ends along with you as you go along the project. But when I'm changing a lot of colors, I don't always like to do that. With single crochet, I do. Once we get into bigger stitch types like doubles and trebles, I don't because it's harder to hide them. But with singles, it's pretty easy to do that. And then with the other ones, it's a little easier to put your ends in by going up through stitches to keep it nice and clean. If you're not comfortable with putting stitches in, I'm just going to grab. This is not my best yarn needle, but I don't have any other ones really close to me right now. But basically, we're going to stick our yarn into the end of a needle. We're going to take this across our project, and we're going to go under. Let's see if we can get it up and not have it get too blurry. I'm just going to go through, so you can see I'm going into a stitch here. I'm just going to kind of take that up a few. And then you want to go back the other direction to really keep it locked in. And you could either do that by kind of looping around the next stitch. So I'm kind of looping through, or I could go up through the V of the stitch below. And this is a pretty sharp needle. It's not the sharpest. It's a pretty dull, still a yarn needle, but it's meant for smaller yarns. You could just pierce through the stitch below, bring it back up. And that came off my thing, so let's get it right back on there. And then go back the other direction. Push that right back through here. And that's really enough to lock that in. Some people like to do more. You can certainly feel free to do as much weaving in as you'd like. I may even like put that through a few more times or push that back through the other way by piercing like the stitch below. You can see it right here. So piercing up through here and then back through. Trying to catch some of the yarn that I just put through. The bulkier the yarn, the less you want to go back and forth because it's a lot of bulk added to the project. And there are some better needles for weaving in. I don't have any others on my desk right now. It's the only reason I'm not showing you my preferred needle for doing that. But there we go. So I would put all my ends in, and there I would have my project. Thank you for checking it out, and I have a link to the project this was a skill builder for, probably over here, somewhere up here. You can click on that, and that will take you to the vintage blanket this was a skill builder for. And then there's also another skill builder, which is probably going to follow us up in the playlist if you are watching the skill builder playlist for doing the spike stitch, because we combine this stitch and the spike stitch to make that vintage blanket. Have a great rest of your day.